Sigma Male Diaries Podcast. Let's get on with it, y'all.
Let's go. We can relax, have fun, get a good laugh, get information, and enjoy the show.
I need to do what it do, baby. Sigma Male.
Hey, good day, everyone. This is your boy, Elijah McKnight of Sigma Male Diaries. Thank you for the love and the support, everyone, and I hope everyone had a joyful and safe Memorial Day weekend and holiday. Because things is crazy, man, all the way around this piece, man. I tell you, boy. Because you know I'm in New York, and there's a lot of stuff going on worldwide. So, especially in the United States, specifically. Today I was asked a question because one of my Facebook friends she's a woman, happened to ask me, because she heard my mental health talk or podcast, right? Because I posted it up on YouTube and I also put it on my platforms as well as my podcast website. She went to the whole thing about, I seem very intellectual, this, that, and the third, whatever, why this, why that, and the third. And I basically told her, pretty much it's like this, though. I ain't saying anything rude to her because typically I always say I don't owe anyone an explanation or understanding, but because I'm me, and that's what makes me who I am. It's not so much about people accepting me and stuff like that. Like I said before, I don't want to sound like a broken record with that whole thing, but I told her the reason why I support the Manosphere is because mainly I advocate for men. I don't have any hatred towards women or anything like that. I'm part of the red pill community. I strongly support that. That's going to be to the day I die. Specifically because a man shouldn't have to stress the fact or address the matter that he is a man. But in today's society, and I'm not going to blame modern women, but in today's society, whereas modern women do prefer and or want and desire, I would say want, desire, a traditional man. Specifically a high salary earning man, let's say a high value man. The men that's, in the 10% of high earners. You know what I mean? But the thing is this, modern women weren't raised to be wives. And us as men, we sticking to our role. And today's modern women, they push more towards feminism, extreme feminism, I would say, because I would push for equal rights amongst us as people, whether you male or female. So yes, I support, feminism to that degree, but when it comes to becoming equal with like a man, because he's a man, like in the things that we do, far as a man is looked at to be a leader, provider, or protector. And these are the things that, modern women want within a man. But are modern women cooperative and submissive enough? Are they friendly enough? You know what I mean? Will they allow a man to lead without having selective or conditional femininity? And that's the problem that they're not seeing. Maybe they do see it, modern women, I'm speaking of, not to say in a bashful way, but in a real sense, though. They struggle with allowing a man to lead unless he has this, or he has to be this way, he has to be 6 feet, he has to be in shape, he has to have his own this, his own that, right? But if you want to be equal, why are modern women so hesitant on dating down, though? Like a high-value traditional man would. He could make $150,000, $250,000, but he'll still marry a woman that makes $26,000. Modern women aren't willing to do that, and that's the difference between traditional and modern women. Traditional women are aware of their roles, their femininity, their cooperativeness. And when we say submissive, we don't say it as if you're a slave or you better do this right now, or if you don't, this is going to happen. No. We're not saying it in those terms. When we say that, we mean uncontested cooperation, because husbands do submit to their wives, whether he, traditional, modern, whether he's rich or average salary earning guy or below average earning salary. It's about the reciprocation and cooperation of the understanding. Why do modern women get so upset when men say, I have standards or I have boundaries? But it's okay for them to say, I have standards, I have boundaries, right? I'm not going to settle. Modern women has a big grudge with the manospheres because it's like this. A woman can never settle. When it comes to men, being outnumbered by women. Number one, men have the options, women don't. When you come to social media and guys been in your inbox, men being on your post or their inbox, guys hollering at them, hooting and this and that and the third because of how they look, how they shape, whatever the case is. But those men aren't looking to marry you and make them your wife. I mean, to make you their wives. They just want to sleep with you. Because if a woman truly did have the options she says she has, and these options are this: men that I desire after, men that I want, men that I see myself being with for X amount of years, time, or whether I would get married. Those are options, right? Because if they weren't, they would be excluded from your standards and your boundaries or whatever the case is. So let's just keep it 100. If you had options, you would settle down. Just like, for example, we always ask women this question. If you was to find your dream guy, the guy that you always wanted, this, that, and the third, and it would put her in a dilemma. Suppose he were to exercise his options, then what? You know what I mean? Or if you was to get your dream guy, and he's everything that you want, would you do this? Would you do that? And they get certain responses. Well, no, I wouldn't do this because, I mean, he hasn't put a ring on my finger yet. And that's the problem. Modern women aren't wives before the marriage. So it's like this. If you weren't raised to know what a man wants, to know what a man needs, what a man is, if you don't know who you are as a woman, don't even know your role, I mean, there's no such thing as a masculine woman. She can have masculine traits or she can appear to be masculine or mimic, the masculinity of a man by her attitude, her actions. Let's say she was a single mother though, and she had X number amount of kids, and she possibly was struggling. Pick the wrong dudes that have, children by they consider him a deadbeat, not knowing what really transpired between the two while they're not together. They put their children, in their business, confide in their children when children should be allowed to be children and stay in their place. It's a lot of things that's going on, and the child will hold a grudge against their father from just hearing this whole thing coming from her. See, it's crazy because a single mother will raise her son to be the man that she would want her, the type of man that she would want. But at the same time, she would resent him in a manner because maybe he looks like, the father. So it's like a love-hate type of thing. It's some moms who always say, you look just like your daddy. You ain't gonna never be nothing. You act just like him. You know what I mean? Oh man, every time you make that face, you just remind me of that mother effer. Why is it that child's fault though? I mean, you chose that man to lay it down with, and then the end result was a child. You know what I mean? So what's the whole concept of, having children before marriage? And this is the thing. We have a lot of women who say, I'm a traditional woman. You can pose as a nice modern woman, but you're not a traditional woman. You're not going to be modern and boom, then you're traditional. It's not going to happen. You already lived the lifestyle of an individual, as an independent woman, as a boss chick, a boss babe, whatever the case is. And then now you see that your time is running out. Now you want to settle down. And the dilemma is this. This whole thing about older men wanting younger women because this, that, and the third, and 9 times out of 10, some of the answers are right. Yes, we would deal with younger women because they're more cooperative. Yes, they're more submissive, and they're more friendly. They're more fit. They're more in shape. And, if you're looking for a childless woman, 9 times out of 10, it's best to catch them, while they're young, so you can create your own legacy and establish your own legacy with that woman and raise your own children. Men like that's in that position, they are financially stable to even have their wife stay home. And she can raise their children at home. No nanny, no babysitter, unless they want to go do a little vacation or something. You know what I mean? And then that's sometimes what happens in a marriage, when that nanny raised the kids and stuff, while the mom's, she's a boss chick, she's out running her own business, her own business or doing whatever the case is. And she's not around nurturing her own children. And guess what? The husband start to take a liking to the woman and things happen. It's an affair, an entanglement, whatever you want to call it. It's like a woman can be with a business guy. All he do is work in the office, do this, that, and the third. But then she could see a guy that's real good with his hands, whether he's a mechanic, working around the house, doing something. She would be attracted to that guy. And he makes less money. So it's a whole lot, that men must know about a woman's nature, but it's a lot of things that women choose to ignore about their own nature. Whether it's instinctive, whether it's habitual, whether it was taught, whether it was learned, whatever the case is. So when you come into the whole manosphere thing and you say, oh, well, men bash women, men are this, they're misogynistic. No, it's not the case. It's that the truth hurts. And we're telling you what it is that men want. We're telling you what it is, who we are. There's no role reversals. If you're looking for a traditional man, then guess what? He's going to be the leader. He's going to be the protector. He's going to be the provider. There's no 50-50. There's no partnership. And a lot of women don't want to hear that because they've been raised as individuals. I'm going to do what I want to do. This is me. This is who I am. Accept me for me. Well, men in that position do not have to accept you because they have the options. And that's what you must understand. When you come to your sexual marketplace value and you're a single mom, or let's say you're 34, 35, but you still don't have any kids, but you want this successful man and he's in his 40s, because sometimes most women know, to get with an older guy, he's more established, more successful. They know what it's heading for. But at the same time, are you suitable for this man? I mean, you may feel as if you're an 8 or 9 or a 10, or you may feel as if you got it going on, but guess what? All that feedback is coming from men that's possibly low value men. These guys aren't successful. I mean, yeah, they rip and run, they got money in the hood and stuff. But these men aren't successful men though, because they move different. It's not the same. This is not Pookie and Ray Ray time. So you have to understand this, it's not always about you can have it all. It's not about what you want, what you need. It's not about your desires. It's about reality, outcomes, and results. And it's going to stay that way until y'all get it together, because successful men, high value men, men of value, they will marry out because they're looking for the best outcomes and results of their marriage. Men controls relationships and marriages. And what I mean by this is that men pursue women, the majority, if not all the time, because he sees something in her. Let's say he has the right intentions, and they vet each other properly, and they say, okay, we're looking for marriage. This is what it is. Okay, standards, boundaries, cooperation. Okay, and this is what it's going for. Next thing you know, they get married and they stand within their roles. There's no equality. There's no 50-50. We all know this. Because if it was 50-50 and you bump into a guy, he's making $400,000, but you're making $70,000 a year, and obviously he's not moving into your house. He's not going to pay your bills and his bills. Those men, those are simps. I'm talking about provider males, men who know their value. Let's get it understood. It's a big difference. It's not about no alpha this, no beta this, but it is what it is. Majority of men would simp. The less they know their value, the more they're simp. And that is the bottom line. But like I said, let her go half on the bills with him. Will she still want 50-50 then? Will she still want it to be equal then? Take turns doing his job. You know what I'm saying? Let's see, will she be able to handle the stress levels of being in his position, doing the things he do, working together to see what it is. Because like I said, most successful men aren't going to have their wives working for nobody, because you're not about to be bringing all that stuff from your job, from your workplace to home. And he's not having that whole work husband type thing going on either, because women do develop, and we all know this, they're emotional, some type of emotional attachment with certain men at work, their little friend or whatever, the one who they may confide in about everything. They have those attachments. Women have them in their phones and their inboxes. We know about these things. You can't hide it. We already know what it's hidden for. That's why a lot of men who are successful, they focus on themselves, their legacy, their purpose. They don't care about relationships like that to that degree. They would rather pay for it because it's less problems. Y'all meet up, y'all do what y'all do, and you go your way, I go mine. Whoever you go home to, whatever the case is, hey, that's between you and that person. But at the end of the day, I'm about to get back over here to what I'm doing. And that's what it's about. Men do not have to settle. Do you understand what I'm telling you? So it's not the whole thing about bashing women. It's about reality. And women, they've been lied to. And we know this because it's a lot of women now growing up to really find the truth about the relationship between their mother and their father. They show so many episodes about how a woman can say something and they see that she's apparently lying, but the world will really believe her until the truth really comes out and say, oh yeah, well, I lied because this, that, and the third. I felt I was a better woman. She didn't, she never done anything. I made all that stuff up. You know what I mean? It happens. They do it all the time. You know what I mean? It's nothing new. I mean, it is what it is. If you can't take accountability, and that's the problem. A lot of modern women lack accountability. They lack a whole lot of things when it comes to being a wife. And that's the problem. They don't like the standards. They don't like being rated, but they can rate a guy. They can have standards on a guy. You know what I mean? They don't want to accept the guy because he's in this position, but they could be in the lower position of the guy they desire after, but that's supposed to be okay. Oh, yeah, because you're a man, you're supposed to provide and protect. No, we're supposed to provide, lead, and protect the women that we choose to have as wives and create our legacies with. That's it. Wherever other man you got with, he didn't do his part, then hey, he just left you over to somebody else. And that's why they call them leftovers. Because think about it. Most women want companionship. I don't care how busy they are. Some women still want to be held, want to still hear a man's voice, feel a man's touch. We know these things no matter how hard you try to play. Either you accept reality and the truth, like Kevin Samuel said, God rest his soul, or die alone. And I do not have a problem telling you that. I do not, because it's just reality. How many of us have relatives that passed away, our aunties or whatever the case was? Where was their husband? Where was their boyfriend? They was there alone. The only people that were there were family. And so, I mean, come on now. It's not all by choice, no nothing. It's whether you're suitable, whether you're cooperative, whether you're feminine enough for the men that you want. That's what it's about. So y'all can say we want younger women because of this. We want younger women because of that. I tell you what, a 26-year-old would be more successful than a 35-year-old hitting geriatric pregnancy and giving a man 3 kids or 4 kids, regardless of who have triplets or quintuplets or whatever the case is. It's just, and they both can be in the same, health category and everything. That woman that's younger can give that man more children to fulfill his legacy throughout the next 9 years by the time she's 35 versus that woman being 44. Imagine the type of trauma that woman experienced being with different men trying to find out who she are, who she is, who she want to be with. She picked the wrong guy this, the wrong guy that. I mean, come on now. And younger women possibly do it too, but it's 9 years is the big difference. That's 9 years of additional trauma, 9 years of additional bodies, 9 years of having kids by 2 or 3 different men. And this is the manosphere, and this is what it is. If y'all really want to know what men want, who we are, what men's supposed to be, ask us, and when we tell you, listen, because you're not going to have it your way. You want us to lead, then you better bow down. And I'm saying that with all due respect. What I mean is get off your high horse. We're not equals. Okay? You could be equals with your relationship, your boo, your bae, your cuddle buddy, whatever. But when it comes to men looking for husbands, looking for wives, we're not equal. Accept that. You're going to have to, because you're still denying it. And look, you're still single, you're still dating this dude, that dude. And then you figure, well, I'm too young to settle down. But look how many men you got flapping on top of you, though. Traditional men values a woman's womb. That's why they say childless. That's why those are within the first 5 purposes. We don't want to deal with another man's problem. We're not going to deal with having limited discipline. That's not going to happen. We're not going to be robbed or deprived of our masculinity. It's not going to happen. I will have more leverage raising my children with my wife. Why should I come in and be a stepfather? Why should I simp? Why should I take my $150,000 for the next 18 or 20 years to invest in another man's child when this woman can just walk away? Why should I be willing to lose in the end? Why should I be a nice guy? When women don't even want the nice guys. They have the nice guys, they cheat on them, or they block them, or they call them weirdos, or they leave them on read. You know what I mean? They don't want those type of dudes until they want to be saved. Because those are the suckers they look at them. Those are the simps, the beta males. That's how they look at them. But throughout their younger years, they want to chase all type of so-called alpha boys because they're making, $1,000 a day selling bags or selling ounces of weed or whatever they're doing out there. Oh yeah, those alpha males. Them dudes don't got fathers either. Them men don't know nothing about being men. That's why they out there on the block. When men have men that know their purpose, they're not gonna put their lives in jeopardy. When men want legacies, we're going to plan 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years down the line. Regardless if we have our legacy, we're going to continue to build and strengthen our legacy. Why would you throw it away over making some money? You get locked up, your ass can't even make enough. You didn't even make enough to make bail. Now you got to call on, X amount of women that you was messing with or whatever the case is, and guess what? They ain't answering your phone call. But those are the type of men you want, Pookie and Ray Ray, right? But then you want to come to your savior. You want to be saved. 3 or 4 season, man. All that hot girl summer shit, that all city girl shit, man, that shit dead. You can't possibly indulge in that to turn around and make one a 6-figure man. You're not going to get a traditional one. You'll get one to blow your back out, but you're not going to get one that's going to put a ring on your finger, so you don't got the options. You got men lined up asking you, marry me, marry me, marry me. You keep saying no, and it's different men like literally bound down at restaurants. They take you out. They want to introduce you to your family and stuff like that. And these men is around hundreds of people, 30 people, 40 people, but there are witnesses. It's not just a woman say, oh, I had 5 or 6 men propose to me, but where they at? Where did they do it at? Who was there? Oh, it was just us. We was, oh, nah, that shit don't count. You understand what I'm saying? And that's just how far it goes. We don't have to listen. Y'all, modern, they don't own us, regardless if they raise our son, their sons, if you see whatever. Modern women, they feel they own black men, and that's the problem. They act as if black men aren't supposed to say anything. Man, we're men. Know your role, stay in your lane. We know our role. We're gonna do what we do. We built this country, man. We know how to survive without women. Women cannot survive without men. And I don't care what y'all say or how y'all feel, because the majority of business owners are men, and the men is cutting your motherfucking check. And you always run into a man when you need your bills paid, your sugar daddy. So don't sit there in front. I know what it's hitting from a man. I'm 45. Been there, done that. I'm telling you from experience. Fuck feelings. The outcomes and results. Be more submissive, cooperative, willing, freely, fit, childless if possible. Don't expect another man to accept your ass as a package deal, because we don't have to do that. When a man is in that house with his wife and his son, he's not going to tell his son, yeah, son, it's okay to get with a ready-made family. A single mom would tell her son that shit, though, because she has Simps coming in her life raising y'all. And guess what? When she wanted to put his ass out when he lost his job, guess what? Whatever paycheck that man was getting every week or every month, whatever the case was, and all of a sudden, because he lost it, yeah, guess where his ass at? Looking for somewhere else to stay. So just cut all this bullshit out. You can't possibly sit there and tell me you would treat a provider male like that. Okay, baby, yes, you got to be conditional selective about this shit. Man, we want wives, traditional wives, not no GMO type shit. No eyelashes, all that weave shit, all that getting your body pumped the fuck up, and years later your ass in the hospital, man. We talking about natural shit. The way your ass is born, the way you look when you hop out the shower. That's what we talking about. What can men do to alter their appearance like that? If a man is 5'8", he can't make himself 6 feet the way you like it. If that man is 235 pounds right now, but you like a man that's 185 and 6 feet, he can't lose weight in 2 or 3 months like that. So y'all born with y'all value, man. We have to make ourselves valuable. So why should we invest all that work to raise another man's kids? And don't you know, nowadays, being a stepfather, you know how many women now can take a man to court for being a stepfather now? And then when they break up, they can have that man pay child support for a kid that's not even his? You want to talk about that? You want to talk about fairness and unity? Let's talk about the men that's been dealing with these modern women sleeping around, and they got 4 or 5 different men coming to the show for 2 or 3 different kids. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how a woman can give up her rights as a mother and give her kid up for adoption, but a man can't. A man can't even give up his rights to a kid. Like, listen, I told her not to do it. We were sleeping around, whatever, the kind of broke, we didn't prepare for this. But her, no, I want to be loved. I want a kid. I need something or someone to love me. I didn't have this, that, and the third or whatever, but you bring a can into the shit. And when that man not there, now you want to talk shit about that man, but that man already told your ass what it was hitting for. But now you want to shame, insult, guilt, and blame. Now you want to shame, insult, guilt, and need to be right about some shit. You didn't know nothing. You still don't know nothing. That's why you don't got nothing. Not the man you want. You can have all the money you want, but your ass still feel empty. And that's why you're mad. Your pride. Yes, women, y'all have egos too. Your ego. You've been raised as an individual. I don't need a man. I went to college. I got degrees. I'm more valuable. No, you're not. You can't say that shit to a man that have degrees. You can't say that shit to a man that has money, has his own businesses as well. The man that you desire after. You can't say shit to that man. You can't say nothing but cooperate. Interdependency. Fuck all that independent shit. You waited too long. Your time is over. Discount or die alone. I'ma tell you that. And this is your host. I tell you what. I'll accept some tallest. And I won't be all aggressive like that. But it is what it is. This shit need to be heard, need to be told, need to be listened. Learn, unlearn, and relearn. All that shit you was taught, it was a lie. Try it a different way. Then learn the truth about what men are, what we supposed to be. Let us tell you who we are. We tell you, what the roles are. You know what I'm saying? Y'all didn't. Man, listen, it don't go like that. It don't. That's why men aren't dating, not traditional, man. They're not going out there simping, doing all that shit. Fruity, you my dude. They're not spending millions of dollars on women just to still be sitting there looking at that shit as a loss. Huh? $3 million. Most men and most women would never see that. Them, they family, they relatives combined won't even see that type of money throughout the course of all their lifetimes combined. But one man did that, pretending to multiple women. And look where he was, sitting right there talking to Kevin Samuels. And that man is wealthy, a multi-millionaire. So like I said, it's not about the money. It's about the needs, the wants, the desires, and why you want the man you want. It's because of his financial stability. But you're not right. You will get it together.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my talk, my podcast. Some of you might like what I say. Then again, some of you might not. But I don't give a fuck. And I really don't. But thanks for listening, ladies and gentlemen. And this is your host on Wisdom and your host on Sigma Male Diaries, Nigel McKnight. Y'all stay safe and be blessed. Amen.